Donc nous sommes en compagnie de Tobias Forge, qui est donc membre évidemment du grand groupe Ghost. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for taking your time with us, and congratulations on this new album.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about the new album, but let's talk about the new Papa.
Mm-hmm.
Papa 5, Perpetua.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What happens to the old one? Can you tell the story to our listeners?
The old one, or the old Papa, he got promoted. And he thinks he's demoted.
Oh.
And that is, part of the struggle living.
Yeah.
Not knowing what's best for you and knowing when your time, to do things is obviously nothing is ever forever.
No, nothing lasts forever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you go on to new things.
Yeah. So he's scared a bit.
I guess so. So that's a journey that we'll have to follow him through.
Okay.
With him through.
Okay, we can wait to know it.
So, what can you tell us about the name Perpetua, which means forever?
Right. I've always found it humoristic when leaders of because scattered across the world there are a few eternal leaders, and that is maybe it's a linguistic thing, but for me and most people I know who interpret that means that you're eternally leading something, and that has a tendency to change when that person passes away. And then there's another eternal leader, which is it just it makes me laugh a little because it's funny, so I just thought that wouldn't that be a great little mind fuck to have in our world too. The eternal leader.
Yeah, it's laughable. Yeah.
So, not shitting on any,
leader,
but it's just funny. So
you are free to think whatever you want to believe.
Yeah.
Okay,
of course.
So it's okay.
This is only entertainment, nothing real, nothing political, nothing. No.
Of course. So the new Papa will be on stage with Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
We saw. How will he prepare this live?
What's going to happen in July?
I mean, this is obviously a an event that we are invited to, and that has its own. Not only schedule, but its own rhythm, its own. Whereas I do believe it's kind of fluid as of right now, what exactly it will be, simply because of the nature of it being like a tribute, but also a performance. Personally, for me, since I am literally, as good as close as you can get to a lifelong fan of Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. Very bittersweet, I must say. I feel very honored to be asked to contribute to this evening, but it also feels a little cloven.
It's a weird feeling because it seems like it's an honor, but we're also a bit sad and also grateful for this event.
Yes. and there's no other way to say that. It's really
like you said, bittersweet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to prepare saying like, oh, this is how it's going to feel. Mm-hmm. I just know that I have a thing that I need to do, and that's my part.
Of course,
is that I need to be professional doing that.
Yeah.
Everything else is like,
we'll see.
I'm just going to try to enjoy it as much as I can. With luckily enough, I mean, it's tributing this absolute hugely influential artist and the band and all those four guys that have meant so much for me and everyone there. And another aspect of it is that there's so many friends of mine playing,
of course.
And people that I know, and so it's a very family.
Yeah, it's a family event.
Family event.
Yeah. Let's talk about the new single, Satanized. Can you tell us the story behind this song, how you wrote it, how you produced it, and how did you feel when you wrote it, when you created it?
The first bit I wrote was on my daughter's. She has a piano in her room, and I quite often sort of just sneak in there as soon as there's a moment when I, hear something in my ear. Sometimes you grab a guitar, or sometimes you just hum something into your phone, or I like to compose on piano. The whole thing started with that, and it was super slow. It was like a waltz.
Okay.
What I heard was almost like violins. Boom, 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 boom. That sort of thing. And that was like what I heard in my head. And then, I sort of composed that sort of first sequence of chords and how it sort of ends, the intro. And then that just sort of stuck in my head. And so what I do with that, I don't want to do it like a because I've already done the song like that, and that felt slow and boring. I like a lot of 70s, I don't know, what do you call that rhythm? It's Scorpions have songs like that, and Accept has like a song, what's it called? I don't remember that song. It's from the first or second Accept song, Accept record. But he just had this sort of Scorpions mid-70s, later 70s vibe. I sort of heard Klaus there, Mine Edge is like, and so I decided to just push it that way.
Yeah.
A little bit of Scorpions, a little bit of this, a little bit of Toto, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Everything
that's
he listens to.
yeah, and that's what I felt too listening to the single, to Satanized. It felt like we were talking about tribute. It felt like a kind of tribute to those bands in the 80s, in the 70s.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's very inspired. I mean, everything I do comes from somewhere, and it's inspired by something. And then, of course, my mission, what my goal is when you write a song is to try to write a song that, in this case, that we don't have. A song that will have its own place, that tastes it in a unique way. And then lyrically, I came up with the idea of writing a song that was, at face value, was going to be perceived as a song about being possessed, but it's actually a song about being in love.
Oh.
And how being in love, especially if you're, the feeling itself can be like that, even though you're even if you're experienced enough to detect what you're going through. But from a religious point of view, and if you're superstitious, and especially back in time, where maybe that the feeling of being in love is a strange one that you've never experienced before. It feels like being possessed by a demon that is hurting you.
Yes, because growing up, my mother, who is very religious, used to tell me, "Don't ever fall in love with someone because the demons will come to you."
There you go.
She used to tell me that because she didn't want me to have any boyfriend or any girlfriend, okay? Right. And she used to tell me, "You don't have the right to fall in love because because the demon will captivate you, and because Jesus doesn't want this." And the way you're talking about this song, being possessed and telling us that it's like falling in love, being in love, to me, it's super. It works. So well done with this.
Thank you.
Well done with this, because this one hurts me a lot because I just saw myself as a teenager, as a young girl, hearing my own mother saying, "Don't ever fall in love because the religion doesn't want it." So
it's one of the for the most part, because most people have a tendency. You probably fall in love more times than that love has been well received.
Yes.
And when it's well received and it goes your way, it's an absolute fantastic feeling.
Yes.
Whereas when it's not, I don't even understand why there is no such thing as AA.
Yeah.
For people that are in love, where you're immediately like, we're going to take your phone, you're going to be in rehab, you're going to be in this 12-step program.
Yeah.
where you're not allowed to sort of speak to that person. You're not allowed, because you need to like detox.
Yes, you need, yes.
Because it's like being in love is
been in
I mean, it's
addiction.
great, of course, but believe me, but it's really also an absolutely all mind and soul consuming process that makes you forget about the most important things in your life. All of a sudden is not important.
Yes.
And it's like being on drugs.
It's like,
really
it's totally
like
because
you're not accountable.
Yeah, and
anything.
because when you how do we say when the relationship ends, yes, you need to process that. You need to process this, and it feels like, okay, I don't have to text this person anymore. Okay, it's like it's just, yes, it's being addicted. It's like drug.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the album now.
We wanted to know when you started working on the new album, on the new record, and what's the meaning of Skeletá?
Some of the songs on the album were written already for Impera.
Okay.
So Satanized, and it's like the basic form of that, was in the mix for Impera. The Profundis Borealis was too. Misilia Marie is like a very old song. I wrote that some time ago. I started putting material together. Guiding Lights was written in 22. That was on the tour. We were on tour.
All right.
So that was on in the summer of 2023
Yeah.
when I was still on tour. Because the story about that song was I was asked to write a song for a series, and I was asked to write a song about in a specific scene for a series, and I had like a little recording of ding 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 ding, and the line and the road that leads to nowhere is long. So I quickly went, in between tours, I was just like, okay, so I need to make a demo to sort of submit to this, to the production company. And I had these bits and pieces, went into a studio with one of my collaborators, Max, just quickly to sort of like, here's an idea for the song, and sent that over. And then that was forgotten about. They decided to go with all Chinese artists anyway, so it's like that didn't happen, because the series was doing so well in Asia, and so they needed to have like local artists doing every song. Okay, fine, good. Then I have a song for the record, and it seemed to fit very well with the record, and because. It was already like called Guiding Lights. It already had the same lyrical theme. It was funny because one of the few feedbacks I got from the production company or the music supervisors for the series was like, "Ooh, you mentioned the word God in the lyrics. That's not a great thing." I was like, okay, well, all right, cool. What's the problem? Like, no, well, it's this series is doing really well in big Asian markets, and I was like, well, okay. I mean, I guess I could change it, but it was like I can't believe that out of all words I've ever put on like that was going to be a big thing, and now it was obviously when that sort of never went anywhere. I was like, okay. Great. Now I can.
It's yours then.
I don't have to change it. I don't have to change. Anyway, once I was done with the album cycle in 2023, and I had Guiding Lights. I had like what was going to become Satanized. I had De Profundis and bits and pieces. So it usually when I sort of go in and start actively work with a record, it's first and foremost more of a sorting through what I amassed over the last couple of years, because I'm always writing. I never go with like not writing anything, and then all of a sudden after a tour I just start from scratch. That has never happened. What I wanted to do with this record that I felt was important for me, sort of inspirationally and thematically, in order to not to feel snowed in on and repetitive, was make a record that wasn't necessarily as widely commentating worldwide affairs, simply because Impera was exactly that.
Yeah.
It was almost all of it was about like big structural imperial comment.
It's more personal.
Yes, I wanted to make a record that was more grounded and introspective and also grounded in core basic feelings: love, hate, regret, hope,
Of course.
and death, acceptance, life. Like, of course, when you're a theme, unless you're like King Diamond or you write like a story.
Yes.
A theme is just a theme. It's just like a direction, and then you might stray a little. But I think I sort of stayed on brand, and all the songs are like a gallery of mirrors where you're sort of dealing with various things that might be important for everyone, of course, but especially for someone who's experiencing a midlife crisis.
So is it inspired by your own personal life?
My own midlife crisis? Yes, of course. I write. You write what you see. You write what you feel, and as a songwriter, I guess you're where intuitive and just spontaneity is disrupted is because you also want to make a craft of art. So of course you will find a nice rhyme for the word, and you will try to make it as good as possible that it's digest, so it's presentable to others. And of course there was moments of me, obviously not missing out on worldwide affairs on it, but to a way lesser extent than previous records. Because I just wanted to deal more with the emotional aspects of that, and I do believe that even though the world is currently in a amoeba-like, very uncertain, I think it's important to remember that we've gone through all of these things before, good times and bad times. So there will come good times, and let's focus on healing, because sooner or later we will have to deal with the fact that
with another deal.
With because what we're feeling right now with these two 70-year-olds who's fighting for their lives because they know that their time is almost over. Let's enjoy the fact that we will live through their demise.
Yes, yeah, that's an important message. You'll be also on tour in the UK and in Europe with a lot of show here in France. Free shows in France. So how does it feel to be back on tour? It feels like you never stopped touring, even though you did, but it feels like you really, really do love being on stage and meeting your audience. So how does it feel to be back?
I mean, I love being on tour. I love working. I love my job. I mean, most aspects of it. I'm very interested in stage production and conceptualizing. If I have one USP, is that I'm pretty good at holistically come up with a concept. That is definitely something that my job is giving me an opportunity to do. That is fun. The traveling aspect I like too a lot, especially now when you've done it for a while, and I can't help but to feel that little world citizen sometimes when you come to certain cities that you've been to many times, and you have friends there, and you have your favorite restaurant, and you have your whatever, you find your ways, and that is a very life affirming aspect of touring. We had a few weeks in December where we had the band together, and we were rehearsing, and that felt also good because we hadn't really seen each other for quite some time. I saw some of them, as we were going to release the film and the film premiere, but we haven't really, been together for almost a year.
Oh wow!
Which is but from a working point of view, from a touring point of view, even though I'm sure that there might be individuals feeling that it would be great for us to work a little bit more like a traditional band, and I too, as personally, I do miss sometimes the utopic idea of being one out of four people in Led Zeppelin, or even Beatles, like being in a group where everything you do together just feels magical, just because you have a sound together. But I will never really have that, so that's fine. I have a lot of other things. Going through a whole album production and simultaneously making a film, and then be able to come back into the group setting and not having worn each other out is a magical upside, because that means that once the touring starts, we start anew. We haven't been fighting for a year. We haven't been at each other's throats.
Everything feels fresh.
Yes, there are a lot of bands that go through that. Like making records is hard, and once they go out on tour, they don't talk. They don't want to be together. They don't want to, whereas the novelty of being on tour and being together again is usually quite invigorating. So
that's amazing. We can't wait to see you on stage in a few months. Thank you so much, Tobias. Congratulations once again with that new record. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And bye-bye.
Bye. Goodbye.